and shivering too. All that's keeping me alive is the thought of losing you.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Liberate Your Money, episode 49. It is the last day of the year. It is New Year's Eve, December 31st, 2021. Just want to say it's been a hell of a year. 2021. Honestly, it's been mostly chop this year. This is the Bitcoin chart, and if we look at the beginning of the year, January 2021, we were right around that 30K area. This is right around that area where Elon Musk announced that he was putting some Bitcoin on his balance sheet. And we went up from there. We propelled up to 69K. Or actually, it would have been that first test of 65K. And then we came back down to Elon's buy price. Or his announcement price. He was probably buying down here. He announced it here. And came back down to this area, tested it, and then had our new all-time high at 69K, which is kind of a meme, right? What a crazy place to pivot. And came back down, and this green line is actually a quarterly level that I drew a couple days ago. I was looking at the quarterly chart, and that is the next quarterly level of support. As you can see, we kind of, like this wick right here doesn't look that good after testing the previous all-time highs on the quarterly chart, so that doesn't look great. We would like to turn that around, and we'd also like to keep this green. Looks like it's going to close green. We've got the close tonight. It'll be the monthly close, the yearly close, the 3-month close, the 6-month close. So it's it will give us the yearly open for 2022, which is pretty important level, especially considering that when we opened the year in 2021, we went up and came back down and retested that yearly level, which is at like 28, 29K, which is exactly where we bounced on this. And since then, we've been creating higher lows, right? So that's encouraging. We did make a new high. That's encouraging. We talked about how this could be a double top, but we also talked about, how topping patterns don't generally look like this. You don't generally make a new high and then go down massively from there. But look, anything could happen. This is unprecedented times. A tweet I wanted to talk about was, we were comparing previous cycles, and this cycle just seems really weird because we have, like the first cycle, we had these crazy parabolic runs. Second cycle, crazy parabolic run. Third cycle, we have miniature parabolic runs, and then we have a lot of chop and craziness, and then we had a parabolic run, and then a lot of chop and craziness. And I think Caitlin kind of puts this in perspective pretty well. I was talking about how big time players are getting in this cycle, and that could be cause for chop. I think a lot of it is also the leverage in the system, and that's the main reason for the chop, and the reason why Bitcoin could actually be below its true value price because of all the leverage in the system. She says, it's fascinating how different this bull market is from previous ones, which saw blow-off tops by this point in the cycle, right? We've been comparing the timing of the cycles, and she's absolutely correct there. All the leverage is key reason, in my honest opinion. Buyers substituting unbacked claims to Bitcoin for the real thing, which suppresses the price. Model shows how cheap Bitcoin is versus true price when squeeze. And she's saying this in reply to Plan B's, stock to flow model, which is hanging on by a last leg here. I don't know if this is gonna pan out or anything. It doesn't look like it is, but I think she makes a great point that a lot of the leverage in the system could be a key, and is probably a key reason why the chart looks like it does. since 2018. Like, the top of the 2018 bull run happened when CME Bitcoin futures went live, and that's a lot of rehypothecated Bitcoin, a lot of price suppression that can happen, and that's exactly what we've honestly been seeing like for the past like 3 years, you know, until we broke out of this consolidation area. Like, this was a painful 2 years. I mean, this run up was nice in the beginning of 2019, but like the chop, Corona scare, and then like we finally bounced and went up from there. But it was just a really choppy year, and we really didn't go up until we retested that 200 weekly moving average down here, which is kind of scary, right? Like, hopefully we don't have to revisit that to find a floor again, right? Because we obviously know there's tons of liquidity at this blue line, but that blue line is below 20K. Like, we don't want to retest that now, but maybe we are due to retest that. And we're going to kind of look at the Ichimoku cloud. It's the double cloud. I use this as a trend metric to help me identify when trend reversals are happening, when the cloud goes red, or when we break below the mean, or when the blue line crosses back over the red line to the bottom side. Like, that can signal trend reversals. So we're going to kind of look at some of those things and just kind of see if we can gather any alpha from what the Ichimoku chart is giving us. So on the weekly, this actually looks pretty good. We're above the green cloud. The red line is the mean. We're still above the mean, but we are below the Tenkin, which is the blue line. So we want to get back above that to see trend continuation. Right now we're just kind of chopping, but we're above the cloud and we're above the mean. So that looks good on the weekly, in my opinion. If we move into the 3-day, we're testing the cloud. If we get into the cloud, it opens the door to an edge-to-edge trade, which would bring us down to that 40K level, which is like that area at the bottom of the cloud. Obviously, we don't want to see 40K, but that would make us retest this area down here. Let's zoom in a little further to the daily. Now, the daily gets me a little nervous. If we look at the cloud back here on this parabolic rise up at the end, or in the middle of 2021, we can see that when the blue line crossed right here, crossed the red line and went below it, that was like a major signal for a sell. And literally, like, not even a week after that cross, Bitcoin dropped from 56K down to like 30K. So that was like a huge signal. I wish I would have been following this. I think that's why it's important to have multiple tools in your tool shed that you can just pull out and see if it confirms your bias or your other metrics that you see that are showing bullishness. You know, you want to have multiple things that confirm. That way you can have a higher probability of being right. And if we look at the bottom here, see when the blue line crossed over the red line again, that signaled a bullish cross. And honestly, we've been going up ever since then. This right here gave us mixed signals because the blue line crossed over the red line, and then we bottomed and went back up. And then obviously had a bull cycle, topped out, and then we fell below the cloud. Now we're below the cloud, below the Tenkin, and below the mean, and the cloud has flipped bearish on the daily chart. So until like price can get back above the cloud, this looks like we're probably going to continue to make lower highs, and that's literally all we've seen since mid-November is lower highs. So we've been in a bearish market since like November 10th. That was when we topped, and we've been in a bearish cycle ever since. So honestly, guys, like, until we can get back above that 54.5 area, like, this doesn't look good. I will say that when the mean goes flat like this for a really long time, like it has been, price generally wants to go back to the mean. So like with this bottoming wick and with us not making new lows and these lows holding, maybe we get a push back up to the mean. I would love to see that. It would also break this negative trend line we got going on here. So if we can get back above that trend line, get back up, retest that mean, I'd feel a lot better about where we're at as far as price action. Otherwise, this looks like we want to continue to make lows. So that's kind of where I'm at on Bitcoin, we're right in the middle. Like the weekly and the monthlies look all right still, right? We're still above the mean, still above the cloud. The cloud is still green. But like when we zoom into the daily, things start looking a little sketchy, and we want to start making moves. So that's really all I got for Bitcoin. I did want to talk about Near protocol. I think if you missed the Solana, AVAX, Luna trade of the past year, like all of those coins are up like thousands of %, and like I have a hard time, telling people they should buy some or like recommending it right now at this stage of the cycle, because honestly I don't like how the Solana chart looks anymore. The Solana chart looks bearish to me now because we had this push. Yep, there's my line. So we had this push back into this, and we keep getting shut down. Like it's been tested 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and it keeps getting pushed down. Like, that's bearish to me. I don't like it surviving that many touches. But at the same time, if we keep touching it, like it's probably, the more times you touch a trend line, the weaker it gets. So if we can keep pushing that trend line, maybe I can have confidence that it'll break. But we did just have this bearish cross. The blue line just crossed bearish over the red line, which is the mean. We're in the cloud. The cloud looks like it wants to flip red, which is not good either. So like if we keep pushing down to the bottom of this cloud, the cloud flips bearish, like it just doesn't look good for Solana. It invites downside risk, down to here, down to even maybe like here. Now, I don't want to see that. I still hold a lot of Solana. I believe in this project, but like at the same time, I have to be smart. I made a lot of money. Like I've been selling some of my Solana. Like I'm not feeling as comfortable as I was a few weeks ago about it. When we were having this bottoming pattern down here, I thought we were gonna break it here, and we didn't. But maybe this is just the low liquidity end of the year that we're experiencing. Maybe once the new year kicks off, people will start going risk on again. I don't really know. I did have a tweet talking about my 2 scenarios because I have been bearish. I've been bearish since November. It's just been a tough time to remain bullish when we've been bearish for so long. Literally been bearish since the beginning of November. And, the game is all about keeping your gains. It's one thing to make gains, keeping it is a whole different ball game. So I made this tweet December 23rd. I said I don't agree with the fact that if Bitcoin goes risk off, altcoins won't follow, because that has never happened before. It's a pipe dream at this stage of the market cycle, complacent and overexposed view of the markets. I go on to talk about how I think these projects will be reluctant to have a bear market because they can take their profits and focus on their projects instead of generating hype and focus around the price. I said, that being said, my belief is that we get a nice buyback at the beginning of the year, which generates new all-time highs for majors, followed by a market-wide nuke and pain for 6 to 12 months. Prepare for the worst, my friends. Do not rely on hope. You guys know my stance. I haven't been relying on hope lately, which is why I like to sell. The Bitcoin chart is the super cycle, but that's not alpha shit corners are ready for. If you can't see how this chart alone affects the season of your altcoins, then you need more time in the markets. So this is a chart that I made. I think I might have showed this in the last video, but I was basically doing some measurements on the timing of the halving and the timing of how far it took for us to top from the halving. And as you can see, it keeps getting longer, right? And I basically took that ratio on how much we were getting longer from each cycle and kind of did my own calculations on predicting where the end of this cycle might be. And I kind of came up with April and July sometime. So a 700-day cycle from the halving versus the 530-day cycle from the halving on the previous cycle. But I also go on to say that we are close enough to where we could be topping. And I also on the flip side of that, I have to give up both scenarios. I think if you're biased one way, it's really tough to get out of your bias. So I always try to counter what my main point is, or what my main bias is. And what I came up with what I came up with was this. If I'm wrong and we get a bull run that goes past Q2 2022, I think it would be because the first cycle, I think it would be for the first cycle ever, we had multiple multi-month consolidation ranges mid bull run. This creates solid basis for us to move up from, which could lengthen the cycle. Time will tell. So basically what I'm saying is, like, this area right here, consolidation. Major consolidation range that lasted months. I mean, we consolidated down to here. We should have went up from here had the coronavirus kept consolidating. Then we finally broke out of this consolidation range right here and went parabolic, right? When you have these consolidations, it creates bases for movements like this. So then what do? We got up here, and now we're doing the same thing. We're doing this crazy chop range deal, but we haven't made lower lows yet. We're still making higher lows. So maybe, like, this consolidation range, which pushed us up here, is creating another base right here for us to push up higher from here. I think that's like a good theory, because, like, if we don't make lower lows, this actually starts to look really good as a consolidation range and doesn't actually look like distribution. So I don't know what's going to happen. Time will tell. I think we're probably going to get, I'm hoping we'll get that buyback in Q1 into Q2, and we'll have a nice opportunity to get out of our altcoins and sell some Bitcoin and wait for the next major pullback. But, like, I just don't know, guys. We have to be ready for anything. This video is getting kind of long. I wanted to talk about Near protocol. That's one ecosystem that I'm bullish on right now. As Solana, AVAX, Luna. If you missed that trade, I think you should look into Near protocol. Super smart team, bunch of people from, like, Google. I'm trying to bridge a lot of my Ethereum over to Near right now, so I'm still learning, but, like, there's a lot of the infrastructure plays for Near are still super low valuation plays, and I think if you pick them up on their dexes right now, it could be a very profitable trade. So, like, things like Solaris, Nearpad, Aurora. Just, yeah, look into those coins and let me know what you guys think. I really like Near protocol. I've been accumulating Near, and I'm looking to get into some of the infrastructure plays. So yeah, if you guys got questions, hit me up. It's been a hell of a year. Take some profits, guys. I hope we have a bullish Q1, but I'm being cautious. I want to see the monthly close above 47.2 tonight. Yeah, that's all I got. Happy New Year. I'll see you guys in 2022. All right, peace out.
Even though he know empty glass of Pinot, cigars and casinos. What they especially praise is the ethos. Stacks on blackjack, moving my chips. No superstition to make me get rich. I went to church